get something to where I can move this way, I can move this way, put their back up against something, or maybe if I can move them to where the sun is behind me, where the sun can get into his eyes, I can get a visual advantage. Maybe if there's rocky terrain somewhere, like let's say there's grass and on the other side of the grass there's like loose rocks, loose gravel. If I can keep my feet on grass and kind of push him to where his feet's on loose gravel, I have an advantage from a footwork perspective, right? And I want to take advantage of that. So when you're fighting and sparring and all these kind of things, when you're training, you always want to be aware of that. It's kind of like when you're throwing from ninjutsu, you always see people do the metsubushi where they'll throw the blinding powders, right? So you want to make sure that you're aware of where the wind is blowing before you throw it so that it doesn't come back and get you. But you want to make sure when you throw it, you want to know where the wind is so that you can understand, you can get the best benefit. Does it go to just more than one, right? So understanding the elements is very important to swordsmanship. Understanding strategy is important. So when you're sparring, you always want to make sure that you pay attention to their sword, but you never look at their sword. And that's a skill that takes practice. And another thing you always want to do, go cheat on, is the tip of your sword should always be pointed towards your enemy. Always. Doesn't matter, move around for me. It doesn't matter where he is, I'm going to point that thing right at him. And if I can do something to get him to flinch or whatever, that gives me the advantage. So you always keep the tip pointed to exactly who you're fighting. You never want to give away an advantage. You never want to give something up to where they could take advantage of something, and you never want to give something up, right? So it's like this game of chess, right? Except your life is on the line. So you're constantly doing things back and forth and back and forth. Miyamoto Musashi, one of his famous quotes was, "The way is in training." And everyone agrees to that. But we live in a world where knowledge is so abundant. People are whores for knowledge. Let's be honest, that people really believe, like, the more I know. What isn't the more you know? It's what can you do? Who gives a shit about what you know? Have you ever seen in your lifetime, and he's off camera, just pan it over there, you know what I mean? But have you ever seen in your lifetime ever a Buddhist try to go get information and master all the knowledge of Christianity?
No.
Or a Christian trying to dedicate themselves to Christianity and then trying to get all the information about Satanism? No. What they do is they found their path and they try to master that way, whatever that way is, whether it's martial arts, ninjutsu, bujutsu, or whether it's religion, whether it's Christianity, Judaism, Islam, paganism, Sikh, Druidry, what does it matter?
Right.
But you find it and then you master that. And reading all these extra books and figuring out how to do this, that, and the other, and what everybody else does and how they do it, and well, that doesn't matter. If you're learning samurai martial arts or samurai tradition, dedicate yourself to the tradition. Dedicating hours and hours and hours to figure out what somebody else did at a different time in Japan on a different scroll, although it may have give you maybe a brighter, open idea of history of samurai, it doesn't help your skill set. It doesn't help your way. Training is where it's at, developing a skill set, something that you can use. There's something, and you learn more from doing than not. You can learn more from putting in the time and the repetition and the dirt time than sitting on your ass reading a book or looking at a page. So many people get away from that, and I don't understand why. And I think it's because we live in this time period where more people truly believe if I read something or if I have something, then I can do it. But now we look at all the people that they can't survive. They can't take care of themselves. They couldn't do it on their own if they had to. They're big on the internet, but they're weak in real life. They need help. They're unhealthy, they're not in shape, they don't work out, they have no skill in the martial arts, but they claim to be an expert. And that's the world we live in. And that's why it's important to we don't go down that road. This school is not, for that purpose. But under that mindset, I think it's important to understand everything that we do has a purpose. Everything we do leads to something else. One action is another action, and it's a continual path. It's like the path of 10,000 miles starts with a single step. So we have all these different drills to get us to where we're going. One of those things, go ahead for me, is these Bokken drills. So